Up here in Park City today, riding the new Revel Rascal. I'm gonna take it down a few trails, see how capable it is on the downhills. We've got some steep techie climbs coming up. Should be a pretty good test of how this bike performs. Well, so far the Rascal climbs like a trail bike. It's not overly fast, but it's definitely not slow. Ooh, that got a little bumpy. Definitely not slow, but doesn't have that Ibis Ripley feeling where it's really quick to accelerate, where it just feels really lively. But definitely climbs better than a lot of other bikes. So that section felt really smooth. So while the bike isn't the most efficient bike I've ridden, it definitely handles that bumpy climbing well. You just don't get hung up. Kind of just glides over the top of all that, which helps a lot in these technical bits. Today I'm out riding the extra large Rascal. I'm 6'2", kind of lanky, got really long legs, and it fits really well. The reach feels nice, and honestly I haven't done much research about this one, so I have no idea what the numbers are, but I'll put my guesses up after I finish the ride. Got a lot more Rudy tech coming up here. I like the way this bike handles that kind of stuff. Just hit the top of our first big climb, and so far the bike does pretty well. It climbs like a trail bike should. Now we're about to drop into a little bit of a steeper kind of Rudy downhill. We'll see how it goes. Whew, that was exciting. So that downhill was pretty rad. Bike's definitely not a long travel plush bike. It's a lot more precise and lively feeling. But that trail's pretty steep, pretty rooty, and I didn't feel outgunned at all. All the heavier compressions and things went just fine. Suspension feels good, ramps up nicely at the end. Didn't feel any rough bottom outs or anything. I just did a comparison video between the Ripley and the Ripmo. So those bikes are fresh on my mind. I would say this descends closer to a Ripmo than it does a Ripley, even considering the travel. And I'd say it climbs somewhere between the two. Not as good as a Ripley, but I will say better than a Ripmo. Trying to beat this rainstorm coming in. So we're just cruising up this fire road to get to the next trail really quick. Just a few more thoughts about the downhill performance of the bike. With 130 millimeters of rear travel, you'd want to be using all of that on the trail we were just on. It's steep, has a few drops, some good compressions. And I'm running 30% sag. I still didn't make it all the way through the travel. I'm not totally sure how many tokens are in here, but I might consider taking one out or moving to a smaller one, or just working with the air pressure. But I don't think I'd want to go any softer for pedaling performance's sake. I mean, the bike didn't feel like it was way too firm with the rear suspension, but it definitely wasn't plush. It was getting bounced around a little bit in those roots. And it didn't quite hug the ground how you'd want it to. So it might be worth checking some of the settings on here and trying another lap. Here's the snow. Woo! Oh, this bike is plenty capable. Oh, that's like the rootiest trail. Phew, that was fast. Holy cow. Rudder up. Holy cow! Woo! right, so this bike handled that trail so well. That was insane. For a 130 mil travel bike, that's like close to the fastest I've ever hit that trail. This doesn't ride downhill like 130 mil. It feels like an enduro bike with maybe the suspension set up just a little firm. But then it's still like pretty reactive, responsive, agile in the corners, handling sharp. Super impressed with the downhill on this. Okay, so final thoughts on this bike. Climbing is pretty good, as expected. Not much better, not much worse. Downhill, much better than expected. That was a freaking blast. I think this would be such a good daily driver for so many people. It's got you covered on the rowdy, light enough, good enough for the mellow, for long days. Whoa! I couldn't time that one. I buried the front wheel into the second hole. Yeah. All right. Very, very impressed by this on the downhill.